Welcome to NeuroSEDUCTION, Put Science Back into Neuroscience, with me, Louis Fimapalli. Today we have with us Dr. Kazim Agha. Mr. Agha is a partner and agent at Riddell and Maybe LLP. He also serves as the director of local sections of the Chemical Society of Canada and as a chair-elect of the Small Chemical Business Division of the American Chemical Society. So, Mr. Agha, you're a scientist, but you also work at a law firm that is very unique. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Thank you, Lilith. It's nice to meet you. Absolutely. As a scientist working in a law firm or in the intellectual property aspect, um, I come across inventors and individuals or entities for that matter that want to protect their inventions so that they can use it, develop it, and sort of benefit from that as well. The interesting thing is about coming across new inventions, what people are doing, how they're thinking about solving different problems and coming up with different solutions, which makes it really interesting because they're looking at what are the challenges that people are facing in different areas and different fields in the world for that matter, and how to come up with solutions for those challenges. Um, and we get to learn and hear about it directly firsthand from the inventors, the experts in the field. So not only do we get to see what are some of the things and challenges that are being faced, solutions that are people are trying to come up with, but also what people are doing in terms of where things are going in the direction for that matter, and learn from these experts and get to know about it. So if there's an intellectual aspect of it about learning a different area, how things work in a different area, specific area, we get that firsthand from experts. So there's quite a bit of interesting aspect to it. Does that help?
So, you're part of the Chemical Institute of Canada and the American Chemical Society. Could you talk a little bit more about how your role helps like other people?
Absolutely. So in the Chemical Society of Canada, I am the director of local sections, and my mandate is to try and help local sections across Canada. And it is, these local sections are spread across Canada, um, particularly in the chemical society, whether it's chemical engineering or pure chemistry for that matter. And the local sections focus on issues that are pertinent and of value to that particular local section and its members and stakeholders, essentially. So people can use that as a platform to benefit not only the chemical society, but society in general, the chemical society, as well as themselves. Um, for instance, students will get involved with those societies and organize a career fair to get to learn what are some of the opportunities out there when one studies a particular field. If, another example could be that if they want to learn about science policy, they can get and engage with politicians and learn about some of the policy issues that are being addressed, are of concern, and how one can contribute to that. So that's on a societal level. Another example would be engaging high schools and younger students and developing an interest and love for the chemical sciences. And as well, if they want to get into teaching, that's another avenue for that matter. So that's on the Chemical Society of Canada. With the ACS's, American Chemical Society Small Chemical Business Division, the focus is more on helping small chemical businesses, providing them resources, contacts, education, information that they can use to help develop small chemical businesses. And this is not limited to the US only, it's fairly global. The ACS is the largest chemical society, so it is a very active group, and getting involved with conferences and trying to provide information to its stakeholders. And when people come and join and engage, the value of that platform is only enhanced by the activity for that matter and the people's engagement. Does that help?
So, yeah, that was really cool to hear about. So, COVID is something that's really affected many different people and has influenced many different fields. How has your work had to change due to the pandemic, and how have scientists, science, research, and other like aspects of science changed in your view in ways we don't get to see?
Sorry, Lalit, could you repeat that? COVID has affected a number of people. I couldn't understand your first part of your question.
So, how has your work had to change due to the pandemic?
Okay. Uh, and how have scientists changed as well? That
Yeah.
was the second aspect. Okay. Uh, our work has had to adapt like everyone else for that matter. Um, as soon as as the pandemic started, our firm was very proactive, thinking ahead, and the first action was for people to work remotely, setting that up and establishing that so that we could provide. We're an essential service, and it was necessary to adapt really quickly to be able to provide that essential service. So although legally we could work and still be open as an office, the partnership and the executive committee decided that it is in the benefit of all the people and society for that matter that we adapt and work from home. So right off the bat, we changed our lifestyle. It was work from home. Many of the work in businesses have done that already. Um, and internally, if people or someone wanted to come in, we've had to adapt and bring in procedures to ensure who's coming in, are they vaccinated, uh, having the proper resources and protocols in place for the safety of all individuals, whether they be people that are working as part of the firm or there are clients coming in or society for that matter. Similar changes have had to be taken into account when it comes for scientists as well. Um, a lot of the places that I know of, scientists for that matter, they've staggered their work. Scientists need to come in
Yeah.
and work at, if you need to go in a fume hood and carry out some experiments, it's not possible to do that or not feasible to do that at home. And from a safety perspective, not practical either. Um, so a lot of places have staggered and created shift work for that matter. So people are coming in for a first half of the day. Some people are coming in later for that matter
Yeah.
to minimize contact, or I should say maximize spacing or keeping that 6 meter sort of a distance in between. So adapting to that has been really important. Those that are not required to be in the office at work, for scientists such as accountant, people who are in the accounting group or HR, um, they have brought in procedures that they can either work from home, or if they need to come in as required at and not more than that for that matter. Uh, so, and those adaptations have taken place. Also, there's been an increase in collaboration because of this as well, a surprising effect. Although it's caused people to, work in shifts, people are collaborating more and working more together for that matter to make things work. We're not just seeing that in individual companies in the science fields. We're also seeing that in company to company collaboration. I mean, COVID is one of the silver linings of this aspect was companies coming together and working together to come up with solutions to address this pandemic. So there was some really nice aspects about people coming together and working together seen because of this.
So, as we've seen in the pandemic, science is changing to find better methods of performing experiments and finding data driven routes. In what aspects would you want the field of science to change in the next 10 years?
Well, one of the things that we're actually seeing already, and this is sort of a paradigm shift, is the way we do things. It's a lot more of a social entrepreneurship where people are coming together and working together, collaborating for that matter. So there is a change in values and direction And I hope that sort of continues. Uh,
Yeah.
a lot of it has previously been purely capitalistic based or for money based for that matter. But a lot of entities, individuals now recognize that that's not the most feasible, practical, or sustainable route for that matter. Um, and this idea of how to go about collaborating together and working together, you know, and uh, uh, getting the benefit, the financial benefit, but also the societal benefit is there as well. And that social entrepreneurship, social change in values for that matter, is very nice to see. And I'm hoping this will sort of percolate into uh, the way science is done further for that matter, that there's greater collaboration and engagement.
So, as a scientist that works with patents and innovations, what can scientists and inventors do to protect themselves and their ideas?
So when it comes to patent law, uh, one of the idea behind patent law is that whenever somebody comes up with an invention or a solution to a problem and wants to protect it by filing for and obtaining a patent, uh, that's one of the most important things to do as a starting point. It is a piece of property that one can get, a right given by the government, where the inventor tells the public what it is that they have invented, and the government in return gives the inventor a right, a monopoly right, or like a patent, so that they can go ahead and try and build on that innovation and provide a solution to the public based on that innovation. Um, One of the important aspects of doing this is to, keeping things confidential, not making it public, and at the same time engaging with somebody who is an intellectual property professional, speaking about what sort of rights do they have as an inventor when they come up with a solution, so that they who have the inventor who has used their intellectual abilities, rather than, I mean, the economy is changing. Rather than being just physical labor related, the economy has become a lot more intellectual related. And it is using a person's intellect, understanding, and thinking of coming up with solutions to your problems. The value of that is much more than just a pure physical labor. And how to protect the value of that and use that to the inventor's benefit is what essentially comes down to being patent law. Um, and uh, People who are inventors should definitely then speak to patent professionals for that matter and have an appreciation of what options are available for them so that they can benefit from use of their intellect and understanding.
So, with the company that you're working with, are you noticing a shift in how they're looking at climate change as a central operating procedure?
There has already, that's been going on. Our firm is actually really good about this stuff.
Yeah.
They're very proactive in this aspect in terms of thinking ahead and what they can do to help, and very much engaged with society and community driven for that matter, and community oriented. Um, so when it comes to climate change, they've already done a number of steps to help. One of the first things were basically shifting over to paperless, and we did this, oh geez, nearly a decade ago or something like that. And encouraging people not to print unless it's absolutely necessary, and where things are printed, proper shredding protocols are in place, recycling is in place, composting is in place. So that mentality of helping and sustain essentially community and society and environment is there. When it comes to clean technology, even patent law takes that into account. Um, and there are incentives for inventors who have inventions that relate to clean technology and helping those inventors obtain protection for their inventions more efficiently and at lower and at reduced costs as well. So there are a number of aspects that have been done, and they're always open to other ideas that they can do.
So, what is the industry of like chemistry doing to see if chemicals we are using are safe?
Sorry, Lalit, you'll have my apologies. You'll have to repeat that question, please.
What is the industry of like chemistry doing to see if chemicals we are using are safe?
Uh, there is a general change in mentality. As I said, there's a paradigm shift, and we're seeing that you know significantly in a number of different places. In the US, you're seeing the great resignation where people are leaving their jobs because they're trying to do things for a better lifestyle, work for themselves on their own time, and a number of different factors. Similar shifts are being seen in the chemical industry as well, um, where the industry recognizes that to be sustainable, they have to be conscious, they have to be proactive. At the same time, there is the competitive aspect of it. So they have to balance all those things. And then there are policy as well. So a lot of these things have to come together and work. Policy has to be there to incentivize or give direction as to where things should be going and what's permissible and not permissible, while values need to change, and they're changing, but they just and there is a shift as well. But as the values change, actions change as well, and not being purely financial driven, but sustainable, beneficial to society as well as the entity. Once those values are adopted, and they're being adopted, so the people are being more conscious about reducing waste, treatment of their off gases, for instance, for example, cleaner methodologies, recycling of solvents, and things like that. All those aspects are there. We need those aspects to further improve and maintain our lifestyle, but at the same time, it's trying to keep that at a sustainable level. So actions are being those sort of actions are being taken.
So there's a lot of distrust in science, partially because people don't understand the rigor of science. How have you avoided like this pitfall of not using scientific based ideas?
Not using scientific based ideas, did you say?
Yeah.
Uh, the
Or like
distrust. Sorry, go
like
ahead.
or have like what type of ways do you ensure that science is kept scientific, if that makes sense?
Okay. Uh, the distrust in science, unfortunately, is because of lack of information, lack of understanding, and appreciation. People don't come up with a solution to a problem, just off the cuff, basically. It involves a lot of research, assessment, understanding. Now, we also know a very limited amount in comparison to what there is to know. However, in general, scientists are trying to work towards the benefit of humanity and improve uh, society overall. By understanding how nature works, that aspect has to be to improve that appreciation. There's got to be better communication between the scientists and the community. And scientists cannot be limited just to science for that matter. They have to have more engagement in government and policy aspect to be able to communicate the science in a proper way and help establish the right policies as well. And with time and with education, people will start appreciating what's happening and what people are doing for that matter.
So, um, you're a scientist interested in patent law. What is some advice you can give to students interested in these fields?
Start off, it's a really nice, interesting field. I really enjoy it simply because of the reasons I said. I get to learn about the science, I get to learn about how things work without doing the really rigorous work that scientists have to do. Uh, and at the same time, help scientists and entities and inventors and innovators use this platform and or means for that matter for their benefit. Now, students that are interested in patent law, one of the things that when they have to realize is learning about science, learning the fundamentals, how things work, and getting educated becomes really critical. Um, it is both scientists and lawyers are really intelligent, smart people for that matter, and have good abilities. Uh, it is more difficult to learn the fundamentals of the sciences when one is further ahead in their career. So if they want to get into IP law or patent law for that matter, in or particular, uh, having a good foundation of the sciences and engineering is critical, studying those. Um, one can learn the aspects of patent law by getting training or going to law school, and that becomes, uh, and then get into this niche area. I mean, lawyers have a broad area of understanding of the law. Scientists have a really good and broad understanding of the sciences. And generally, areas where interfaces of areas for that matter, where things overlap, become a niche area that can be very valuable because you're combining different aspects and areas for that matter. And IP law is in those areas. So students or people who want to get into it, strengthen up your study, strengthen up your abilities, and increase your understanding of the science and engineering uh, initially, and build up on that, and then go and study the law basically to be able to go into this area. Reach out to people who are in this area. Um, People in this area really like generally talking to younger generation and helping them out. So don't be shy in reaching out to them.
Thank you, Mr. Aga, for generously giving time to us today. This was definitely an educational awakening, and I really thoroughly enjoyed learning about the intersectionality of chemistry, science, and patent law. And I really appreciate you talking to us today.
Thank you so much, Lalith. Best of luck and take care.
Thank you.